Hey everybody, it's Mark again, and guess what? We have another clock to work on. This is a clock that I bought off at GW, and I only paid like $30 for it. Let me go ahead and show it to you. It's After the Hunt musical cuckoo clock. I got the topper here. There's a little bit of damage to the clock, this piece right here, but we could color that in and it won't look too bad. It's an older clock. It has the count wheel, the governor pan above the movement. The bellows seem to work. I need to get the chains out. We'll take the movement out and do a function test. So stand by. In order to do that, you have to get you a parts container first. You got to take the hands off. You got the nut. Because this is an older clock, it's going to have a square minute hand. I'm going to say that this is I'm not even gonna guess. I was gonna say I think it's a Cooner, but I'm not gonna guess. Of course, the hands are broken, so that part don't matter, and the dial's loose. But you gotta release the both bird and the music man in order to take the movement out. Has the original nighttime shut-off levers. A lot of people call them shipping wires, but they're both. They're the original nighttime shut-off lever. In my opinion, the reason why they went to the modern nighttime shut-off levers, these wires can easily come off. And so I'm sure that's the reason why they went to the modern nighttime shut-off levers. But I'm going to have to unravel all these chains, and y'all don't need to see me do that. So I'll come back once I get the movement out or get this stuff unraveled. Now I'm going to have to take the music box out, and I like drawing lines. That way I know exactly where this board needs to go back. There's just two screws to take it out. I already got one off. But the movement won't come out without not taking the music box out. It's a nice looking music box, probably 36 pins. I'd have to count them. Probably plays music on the hour and the half hour. There's a line here. Let me see if I can find a marker. There's a line here. No, one song. I already got the bellows out. This Lono bellow has original paper, but there's a hole in it right here. So I'm probably going to have to replace that. And then the high note bellow has this wire here, and there's nothing wrong. Well, there's a hole right here too. Sometimes you can repair these holes. I think that's a hole. Yeah, it's a hole. Sometimes you can repair these holes, but seeing how it's original leather, it probably can't be repaired. But anyway, there's a wire here that connects to the high note lift wire, that connects to the high note lift arm for this bellow, and it's inside the movement. It's right here. But I need to take the movement out now. I already took the pendulum leader wire off, which I like doing because you need to keep it straight, and leaving it on, it will sometimes get bent up when you're trying to take the movement out. Get your phone to shut off, Mark. The movement is rather clean. I took the governor fan off because I got a different clock. The reason why I purchased this clock in the first place because my house misplaced this governor fan for a different movement, and a friend of mine wants that clock because it's a huge clock. But anyway, this governor fan is not going to work on that movement. These movements, for the most part, are just like a cuckoo quail movement. This is the music. This is a cuckoo quail movement. If you were to take this gear off, which is for the music, and if you were to add this count wheel, which is for the quail, and instead of having these levers, you put these levers on, you got a cuckoo quail movement. They're basically the same thing. They work the exact same way, except for you would need this lever and this lever to make the quail work, but it's exact same movement. For the most part. It would also need a notch in here, but again, it's exact same movement. They work the same way. On a musical cuckoo clock like this, there's a wire that comes off the cuckoo side, and you should be able to see that wire lift. That wire serves two purposes. A, it stops the third wheel warning pin. Well, I take that back. It lifts up the wire that comes off the music, and you should be able to see the wire lifting. When the cuckoo bird comes out, it lifts that wire that trips the music, but just like on a cuckoo quail clock, the third wheel warning pin has got two warning pins, one on the inside of the movement and one on the outside of the movement. Let me get something to point with. Sorry, one toward the front of the movement, one toward the rear of the movement. Here's the one toward the front of the movement, and that's what stops it when it goes into warning. And this is on the rear of the movement, and that's what stops it when it's done playing music. When it's done playing music, I gotta make sure I'm going the right way on this gear. That's the ratcheting system. So the gear comes down this way. So I take that back. The one toward the front is what stops it when it's done playing music. The one on the rear is what stops it when it goes into warning. And what stops it is the wire that's connected to this post. I'm trying to lift that wire up so you can see it. See right there is what stops the third wheel warning pin. If you look inside right here, you will see that wire holding that third wheel warning pin, and that's what stops it when it goes into warning. That way the cuckoo can play, and when it's done playing, this lever drops, which allows the third wheel with warning pin to spin and to play the music. I've got a lot of other clocks to work on. I've got clocks in boxes. I'm going to do what I don't recommend. I'm going to heat up my ultrasonic cleaner, and I'm just going to soak this thing in my ultrasonic cleaner because I've got I bit off more than I can chew with working on clocks. I've got clocks. I've got way too many clocks, and I would suggest that you don't get like I did. I bought clocks back before COVID when everything was cheap. COVID, a lot of people blame me for clock prices going higher because I post clocks to my group from GW. We've got 910 members currently in my group out of over 5 million people in the United States, plus the people overseas who have somebody in the United States who has a U.S. postal box. COVID, because everybody had to stay at home, that's when prices of cuckoo clocks started going up. And I want to say it's got a lot to do with my YouTube videos, Michael Anderson or Just Mike's YouTube videos, Cheryl Adair's Repairs YouTube videos, and maybe a few others out there. But anyway, people see us repairing clocks and they think to themselves, I could do that. So I'm going to start bidding on clocks. And that's why cuckoo clocks prices have gone up. But they started going up during COVID. But anyway, don't be like me. I got way too many clocks to repair. And I want to sell all my clocks. My goal, again, is to sell out and travel for the rest of my life. No, there are no health issues that I have. I just want to be able to enjoy myself. I have not gone on a vacation since I was married, and I've been divorced for 20 years now. Last time I went on vacation was in 2000. 2002. I've gone on short places, I was Louisiana to see my friends and stuff like that. But as far as a true vacation, it's been a very long time since I have been on a true vacation. And so I want to be able to sell out and enjoy the rest of my life, however long that will be. So, no, I'm not going to take this movement apart. Yes, I know how to take this movement apart, and I've got videos on taking movements apart and putting them back together. And I've got videos on explaining what to do if something goes wrong. So, my goal here is to get this thing up and running. So let me go put it in my ultrasonic cleaner. You notice I took the people, the little man off and the bird off. You don't want that in your ultrasonic cleaner. And I will put this music box in my ultrasonic cleaner, but I will only put it in for about a minute. It has dampers on this comb. And if you leave it in the ultrasonic cleaner longer than a minute, these dampers are just glued on. They could come off. In fact, I'm going to take the comb off because I'm looking at it and it looks like there's a bunch of junk underneath it. So I'm going to go ahead and take it off. There was a bunch of junk underneath it, spider webs. These are called dampers, and they're typically glued on. And so I'm just going to put this in the ultrasonic cleaner. We'll come back. Now the parts are out of the cleaner, and I took a toothpick to all the pinion gears because I didn't take the movement apart. I oiled the movement, and I'm putting the comb back on, and I just want to show you. You see how far these teeth are being plucked? That's too much. You'll break the comb. I say that in another video that you want the thickness to be about the thickness of a business card. Just barely put it on and see what it does. As you can see, on the right side is plucking teeth, but on the left side is not plucking teeth. Because I didn't tighten that screw up, I should be able to push the comb. Maybe not. I guess I tightened the screw up too much. I barely tightened it. Again, I should be able to push the comb and see what the teeth are doing. Again, in my personal opinion, that's plucking the teeth too much. I'm going to back it off some. If it's not loud enough, I'll push it forward. But get it to where you think it needs to be. Barely tighten the screws down. That way you can push the comb. The right side is not being plucked. Now it is. And I think that's good. You want to tighten them alternately. And then test it. And you also want to check out the teeth on the comb. Because if they're, this thing is 75 years old. It's made in the 50s, maybe a little bit earlier. You want to check out the teeth on the comb to make sure that they're not damaged. Now, there might be some that are missing or broken. And if I was that old, I might be missing or broken also. It has a removable virgin crutch assembly. Let's zero out my tool here. A little over 2 millimeters thick. If I get the tool in right. 1.9. It's hard to see with the camera in front of my face. It's about 2 millimeters thick, and that tells me it's from the 40s, early 50s. Don't forget that you want to put some oil on the click assemblies. For the great wheels. That way they run smooth. Finding the click assemblies. Now this thing does have a plastic wheel right here. The intermediate wheel. And again, it's got a compression washer underneath it that is part of the clutch assembly. This wheel, along with that compression washer, is what prevents your hands from dropping. It also could prevent your hands from turning, so it has to be just the right amount. Being it's a square hole minute hand, and the way the minute hands are made, let me get one. If your hands are made properly, the flat part is going to be straight up in the air, just like that. If they're not made properly, they'll be crooked. And so when I rotate this, you want to watch this wire when it drops. And there it's right around the half hour. I'll do it again. There it's right around the top of the hour. Now, if it's off, you have to adjust it. And whatever you adjust here, you're adjusting inside also. So you want to make sure that you hold the right side of this wire to adjust the left side of the wire, or you're going to adjust the lever inside here. There's a wire inside here that lifts this lever out of the count wheel. And so if you could live with where your hand is, don't mess with it, or you'll screw it up, and then you'll have a heck of a time. I'll get something to point with. You should be able to see this wire right here. That wire right there goes over the second wheel. It's got a curve in it, but there's a part on that wire that lifts. In this case, you should be able to see right there when I lift this up. You see that wire? It's lifting up. That wire is lifting a tab that comes off this lever that goes into the cam of the second wheel, which is part of this lever that comes out of the count wheel. And so what I'm getting at is, if you can live with where your hands are, don't mess with that wire. Or if your hands are not bone, convert them from a square hole hand to a round hole hand. And I've got videos that explain how to do that. I want to check out the wires. In this case, this lever here is not snapping back, and that's because the spring is loose. So I need to tighten up that spring. And this wire right here is what this wire right here pushes on to make the bird or the man go outside. And it has to be on the inside of this wire here. And if it's not, it'll cuckoo or play music and all day long until the weight hits the floor. And that's because this spring that is part of the bird post is what pushes on this wire right here. This wire right here is attached to this brass piece right here that goes into the cam, the Pac-Man mouth, the slot of the cam that goes around the second wheel. And that is what stops it from cuckooing or playing music. But if this is not tight enough, it's not going to push down on that wire. There's also this wire right here on this particular clock that pushes down on that lever also. And so I still am going to tighten up this spring because I want it tighter. I want the thing to snap back. Now with me tightening up the spring, it snaps back on both sides. And doing my tilt test, it snaps back. When you can point the minute arbor down and get them to snap back like that, they're going to snap back when it's right side up. Now this cuckoo bird is broken, as you can see, but I'm going to put some super glue and baking soda on it, and hopefully that will resolve the issue. It's got a metal bracket, which is a good thing. A lot of them don't have that metal bracket. A lot of them are plastic brackets. I get my right container of super glue that's already opened. And he works. And I'm going to try to fill in the crack. That way he'll last another 50 years. So it's secured. And so now I'm going to get my colored markers out. And I don't want to paint him. I want to touch him up. Where people screw up, a lot of people will paint. And again, it's your clock. You can do whatever you want. But if you're going to sell the clock, and don't ask me why, I think it's stupid myself. If you paint the entire bird for whatever reason that deters people from purchasing it. I mentioned this in other videos. There's a guy, him and his wife had a her cuckoo quail clock, which, by the way, the price came back up on them. But a couple years ago, they had one, and they painted the cuckoo and the quail, and it looked really sharp. I really liked it. But a couple years ago, they were selling for $400, and because they painted the birds, they couldn't make that much money off of it. They ended up only being able to sell for like $150. There's one that recently sold on eBay for $715. And I've got one that I need to finish so I can sell mine for around that. Anyway, the bird is it's got too much super glue around it, so I need to clean it off because it doesn't want to drop. So let me do that. I've got other birds I can use in case I screw this up, but I want to work on this one. And with the bird and the music man both on and doing the tilt test, the bird is a little bit heavier than the man, but it still goes back, and tilting it not as much, but with it upright, they both snap back into place. That's the way I want them. I'm about ready to test the movement, but I need to work on the chains. From this spot to over here is 3 feet. Doubling it will give you the 72 inches required, but you need to go through every one of the chain links to make sure that there's no deformities in them, making sure that the links are closed. And I've got brand new chains, but why use a brand new chain when all it takes is a little bit of patience to fix what you have? If it boiled down to it, I would use a brand new chain, but when you you want the clock to look as original as possible for the age that it is. B, if you were to put a brand new chain every time you worked on a clock, it's going to get quite expensive because you're looking at, I don't know, chains are probably $5 a piece times 3, so that's $15 right there. And so, and personally, I don't like brand new chains on a clock that was made in the 40s and 50s. And here is a chain that the link is deformed. And all you have to do is take a couple pair of pliers and reshape it to get it back to where it needs to be. Patience is your friend when it comes to working on chains. Well, when it comes to working on cuckoo clocks. If you get frustrated, walk away. Come back to it. It don't have to be done today. Unless you're doing this for a living and your customer is demanding it to be fixed. In a case like that, I would tell the customer to take it somewhere else myself. I've got this rag that I use to polish up the case. It's got Old English oil. It's got New Life furniture mask. It's got Howard bead and wax. After I'm done inspecting the chain, I just run the chain through this rag and it lubricates it. That's 2 chains down, but this clock only came with 2 chains, and I have this container of chains that I need to find a chain that is the same length per foot and that is 72 inches long. So I'll do that. I chose this chain right here after I counted the lengths on this chain. And if you match them up, you will see that they are the same. You can match chains up, but they might start off being the same here. By the time they get down here, they're not even. It's 61 lengths per foot. You know what else is 61 lengths per foot? A regular 25 one-day movement. Now, the clock only came with 2 weights also. And the weights are 408, 410 grams, something like that. What I want to do is put the hand on. And I want to trip it to make sure it's going to work. Here comes the cuckoo. And it did not cuckoo. So I want to trip it again. And it did not cuckoo. The weights might not be heavy enough. That was the hour. And let's do this again. There's a half hour. I'm coming up on the hour. And I'm going to put the stand down, so stand by. I'm going to add pressure to both the cuckoo and the music side to see what's going on. The music is not tripping. Remember I told you there's a wire that trips the, that could be the issue. The band was in the way. So let me put a stick down. This thing would normally be in the case. So let's try this again. A lot of these older clocks play music on both the hour and the half hour. Governor Fan quit because it was in warning and it's playing the music now. I think I'm going to have to add heavier weights. I think this weight here is the heaviest. Music is playing, but it's dragging. very well could be out of adjustment too, but I don't think it is. I might have to have a heavier weight. This is another musical cuckoo clock, exact same movement. I tried these weights and that came with the clock, and it don't work unless you pull on it. The movement has got pretty well the same movement as my Smeckenbecker cuckoo quail clock, so it's going to need heavier weights. The music plays somewhat. It would play better if it had a heavier weight on it. So the 410 gram weights are not the right weights for this movement. I put the weights on for my Smeckenbecker clock, which are 630 grams, and now it should cuckoo. And the music plays like it's supposed to. The 410 gram weights are not the right weights for this clock. So, because I'm lack on 630 gram weights, I'm probably going to use those Monster drink containers and fill them up with water. That's probably what I'm going to use until I get around to buying other weights. For some reason, I'm manually pulling the chains, but when I rotate the hand, this arm doesn't always come up. The wire that trips the system to play, sometimes it comes up and sometimes it doesn't. There it's coming up. But there it doesn't come up. There it's coming up. So I'm going to have to take the hour pipe and this wheel, intermediate wheel off, and figure out why it's not working properly. Come on, phone, shut off. And I don't want to bend all these parts, so using my movement stand legs, that way when I take this stuff off, I don't damage the stuff behind. And the first thing I want to look at is this cannon pipe, which is actually the minute pipe, to look at these pins to make sure they're not bent. And the next thing I want to look at is this wire here. And I want to pull on the cuckoo chain while I'm lifting this wire. So manually, it works. Now, turning the minute pipe, it's not working all the time. And so you have to look at what's going on. And I can see right now what's going on. Let me get something to point with. This wire here is tripped by these two pins. And as this turns, this pushes up on these pins. These pins push up on this wire. However, when you put this on, you could see, well, hopefully you could see, it's missing the hook, and the pin is actually going on the opposite, on the inside of this wire. The pin is doing this. It's rotating here, and it's turning around. It's rotating, and it's turning around, and eventually, it's hitting this. So the issue is this needs to be bent more to the right. That way, it catches these pins. I take that back. This needs to be bent up. That way it catches the pins. But hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. See right there, it's on the inside of the wire where it should be catching the tail of this wire. So let me bend that. up some and see if that resolves the issue. And that's what I hate about these things. You grab one, it don't fit, so you got to grab the next one. So now I bent it up some, so now I'm going to see what happens now. Now it's catching on the outside of the wire and it's getting stuck. I bent it too much, so I need to bend this out and see what happens. And now it's lifting everything the way it should. Now, when it gets up in the air, it needs to have some end shake. If it don't have end shake, your clock will stop. And it currently does not have any end shake. In other words, it needs to be able to move up in the air just a tad more, but it currently can't. So I'm going to have to do some bending, and I'm not for sure exactly which way it needs to bend. And like I said, you want to make sure that you hold the right side of this wire when you're doing any adjustments, and pray that it doesn't affect the inside of the wire that lifts up that lever that lifts up the count wheel that comes out of the count wheel. I'm going to see if I can bend this down a little bit because I want to be able to have end shake. And right now the tail is catching the middle part, so I got to bend it out some more. So it's a trial and error type thing is all it is. First time it's not catching the tab again, it's doing the same thing it was before. So I got to bend this toward the movement some, but I can't bend it too much or it's going to catch the center post there. Anyway, it's still not catching, and I'm going to work on it off camera. Now I'll get back to you. So now when I rotate this, it lifts up and it has a little bit of end shake at the end, and that's all you need, just a little bit. Because if not, your clock is going to stop. And I want you to watch the minute pipe. It's cuckooing. Let me put a hand on it and I'll show you. It's cuckooing about 5 minutes per the hand, about 5 minutes before it needs to. And so in order to fix that, you have to make sure this tab, this piece of wire that catches those pins, stay on that pin longer. So this needs to be bent. And this is the part I hate about these count wheel movements. Because whatever you do, now it's going past the hour. So I bent it too much. You see that? That's when it cuckooed. So I bent it too much. So I need to bring it back off. And it just takes minute adjustments. And I don't like using those wire benders. And that's why I grab my needle nose pliers. I can get things done a lot faster with the needle nose pliers. It cuckooed about where it needs to. I'm going to do this one more. It cuckooed about right there, which is about a minute before it needs to cuckoo. That means I bent it to the left too much. So I need to minutely put it back to the right. And I did minutely and see where it's at. It's past the hour now. So now I need to move it back to the left. And when I say minutely, I meant minutely, just barely. I got too much strength in my hands, I guess. And it cuckooed about right there. And that's good enough for me. Now I need to put this is the clutch system. This goes down, and you shouldn't be able to see the hole that the tapered pin fits in. If you see the hole, that means you need to bend the clutch system up some. There's the hole. I think there's a piece of broken off tapered pin in that hole, and I need to get it out of there. And you want to bend these feet up just a little bit, because when you put it back together, you don't want to see that hole. You want the washer, once you put the washer on, you want to be able to have to push this down to see that hole, to put that tapered pin in, because if not, your hands aren't going to move. It is part of the clutch system. So anyway, I need to get that broken pin off, and then I'll put this together off camera. It took some doing, but I got it. So now what I want to do is, the only thing I'm concerned about right now is I want to add a weight on here for the time side and see if the minute hand is going to turn. And I guarantee you that you will not be able to put a movement in a stand as quick as I'm fixing to put this one in. Voila, it's not going anywhere. And I talked about this before, those stupid triangles, those V stands, they suck when it comes to cuckoo clock movements. Now, my friend Dane Kendall, his stand, the way he designed it, it's just a wire clip that you put on. Maybe I'll find his video and show it to you. I don't think I will, because he is thinking about patenting the stand. But I guarantee you, if you try to put a movement on this thing right here, it's going to take you a lot longer than the 15 seconds that I put this movement in this stand, and it's not going to work, because these things suck when it comes to cuckoo clock movements. I don't know what they were designed for, but they weren't designed for cuckoo clock movements. So putting a hand on, and I'll show you here in a second if it's going to work or not, if it's going to turn. Ticking away. Now let's watch his hand to see if it moves. If I can stay still. If it doesn't move, that means that clutch system is too tight. But you should be able to see that it's moving. If the clutch system was too loose when I turned the hands, when it got past 1, it would drop. It's not dropping. It's not dropping as I come up. I'm going to, if you watch the cuckoo bird, it's basically in warning, and I don't have the weights on the cuckoo bird, but we're just going to see if that cuckoo bird moves frontwards and then goes backwards. And that could take, I don't know, it depends on where I put the hand, but that could take 30 seconds or a minute. It doesn't take that long without the pendulum on. Voila, the hand is moving. And so I hope y'all are enjoying this video. Please leave me comments. Give me a thumbs up. You know, hardly anybody leaves any comments on my video or gives me a thumbs up, and it hurts my YouTube channel. People that know me know that I go above and beyond. If somebody's got a problem, if I have a video, I'll send it to them. But there are people out there who are lazy and they want you to point everything out to them. More than likely, I've got a video of everything, every issue that you have with a cuckoo clock. All you have to do is search for keywords like music box. I got 23 videos out there on music box. When you go to my YouTube channel, I am discussing the top mounted music boxes in detail. I've got that was back when YouTube would only allow me to post like a 10-minute video, so I had to make 4 parts. But I got another video out there in the Cuckoo Clock for Beginners series where I combined all 4 videos into one, and I'm discussing even more information. But anyway, that hand is turning, and I'm happy. Now, I told you in another video that this ultralight container, aluminum container I got full of water, weighs 530 grams. When I trip the cuckoo, it doesn't play unless I pull on the chain. Like I said, this movement takes a heavier weight. The 630 gram weights that I bought for my Smeckenbecker cuckoo quail clock, which has basically the exact same movement in it, is what it takes. I could do what is called a bucket test, but I don't have a faucet up here. I don't want to get water all over my carpet, but I know the 630 gram weights work, and I'm going to show you. 630 gram weights on both the cuckoo and the music. And the 630 gram weight did not work for this clock. It should have. And I got to put my stick in front of the music guy. The music is playing just fine with this 630 gram weight. I might have to go to a heavier weight for the cuckoo. It's hard to do all this stuff with one hand. The music is in warning. When it's done cuckooing, it plays the music. So I'm probably going to have to go with 700 gram weights for this clock. And that could be several factors. It could be it has a little bit of bushing wear that I didn't see. So I'm going to inspect this movement a little bit better. Now, if you look at the second wheel, as I push the great wheel, the second wheel has oblong play, and the third wheel does also. Okay, so, and the great wheel. So the question is, do you take this movement all apart to drop the weight down 50 grams, or do you just add a heavier weight? Only God can tell you by adding a heavier weight how long this clock will last. Nobody, maybe the regular, can tell you how long it would last, or the people that made this movement, but anybody that I know cannot tell me how long this movement will last with the pivot wear that it has. And like I said, I have enough clocks to work on. Same way over here. The second wheel and the third wheel has oblong play. I am not going to take this thing apart and put bushings in. The next owner can do that when the clock stops. That could be 5 years, that could be 10 years. You're supposed to service a clock every 5 years. You're supposed to service a cuckoo clock every 3 to 5 years because the way it's designed. These chains, especially if you have pets, these chains drop to the floor, or depending on where you live and depending on how clean you keep your house. If you have a lot of pets that shed, you might have to service a clock sooner, maybe every 2 to 3 years. But if you keep an immaculate house, every 3 to 5 years is when you should service a clock. If the thing is still running 5 years from now, 3 to 5 years from now, I wouldn't worry about it. If it's quit running, then you'd want to put bushings in. Now, these are 750 gram weights. As you can see, it's cuckooing. Doggone it, I forgot my stick. The door keeps that guy away from the fan when he's connected to the door. As you can see, the music is playing just fine. I don't think I have that arm in front adjusted just right, so I'm going to have to adjust it a little bit more. But after I do, I'm going to let this movement run and see if the weights drop evenly. Because I don't know whether it's supposed to play music on the hour and the half hour because it's one song, but a lot of these antique clocks played music on the hour and the half hour, even though it's one song. The only way to find out is to find out whether or not the weights drop evenly. I didn't have to adjust the wire in front at all. The hour pipe, minute pipe came forward a little bit, so once I pushed it back, it's fine. And once you add the nuts to the hands, it will keep it where it needs to be. I got the weights evenly, and because this doesn't have the pendulum on, it's only going to take maybe an hour to get these weights all the way to the floor, and I will find out whether or not they're dropping evenly or not. I'm on Time Savers. This is the price of cuckoo clock weights. 630 gram weights, or $14.50 each, times 3, you're looking at $45 plus shipping. 750 gram weights, or $16.50 each, times 3, you're looking at around $50 plus shipping. So if I was to buy weights for every clock that I needed, it would cost me quite a bit of money, and that's why using the cans I talk about will be suffice until I go to sell a clock, and then I'll buy the weights that I need for that clock, or rob weights off a clock to sell that clock, and then buy weights for that clock that I robbed the weights off of. Now, these can, as many clocks as I got, the cuckoo clocks in my house and Black Forest clocks, weight prices alone can get quite expensive. I've been up since 2 a.m. I went to bed at 8:30 p.m., woke up at 2 a.m., and I've been up ever since. It's now almost midnight. I started cooking at 6:30 a.m., and I was done cooking at 5:10 p.m. I made egg rolls, fried rice, fried noodles, and crab rangoon. And I'm wore out. My back is killing me. So I will continue this clock tomorrow if I feel up to it. And I left my house at 5:30 p.m. I didn't get back until 8:30 p.m. delivering food to all my loved ones, to include my sister, my oldest sister. And while I was there, she's like, "Mark, my cuckoo clock quit running." So guess what? I got my oldest sister's cuckoo clock. I'm sure it's something simple. I just got to check it out. And I delivered some egg rolls to my ex-wife and her kids. And I gave my youngest daughter a grandfather clock for her birthday a few years ago. And it's set up in the house that her and I bought after for me to live in after I retired from the military. And while I was there, the clock ticks all day long, but the strike system isn't working. So I took the movement out, and I got that to explore it, to figure out what's going on with it. So went to deliver food, and I brought 2 clocks home to work on. Gee, ain't I lucky?